I'm Isaac Wolf with your Crossroads League Week in Review. It's postseason time for both men's and women's basketball, and with that being said, let's check in on how each team in the national tournament from the Crossroads League did on opening weekend. In men's basketball, the number 1 overall seed Grace Lancers found themselves down by 5 at halftime to the 16 seed Washington Adventists, but turned it around in the second half to win 85-65. It was Elijah Malone who led the second half surge for the Lancers with 25 points and 11 rebounds. The Lancers then took care of the 8 seed Union of Kentucky 106-61 in the second round to earn a berth in the round of 16. The number 2 seed Indiana Wesleyan Wildcats had a test of their own against the 15 seed Columbia Cougars of Missouri in the opening round as the game went into double overtime. The Cougars had a chance to win it in regulation, but Trevor Moore's tie-breaking 3 at the buzzer was off the mark. Indiana Wesleyan prevailed in the second extra period 105-99. Javen Buchanan and Cademan Bontrager combined for 54 points and 14 rebounds in the win, while Colin Parker put up 29 points in the loss for Columbia. Buchanan kept the hot hand in the Wildcats' second-round matchup with Tennessee Southern, dropping 37 points in the 92-81 win over the 7th-seeded Firehawks. The 10th-seeded Marian Knights lost in the first round to the 7th-seed Florida College 84-71. Brody Whitaker led the Knights in scoring with 25 points. The 11th-seeded Bethel Pilots upset the 6th-seed LSU Alexandria in the first round 85-67. Nathan Ertz led the Pilots with 22 points in the win. The Pilots were then upset by the number 14 seed Central Baptist of Arkansas 79-76 in the second round. Drew Lutz finished his standout Bethel career with a 26-point effort in the loss. Another 11 seed Huntington upset 6th-seeded Antelope Valley 85-71 in round 1. Landon Jordan was the standout performer for the Foresters in this one, putting up 18 points and 18 rebounds in the win. They would fall, however, to the 3-seed Arizona Christian 73-69 in the second round. Zach Goodline's career as a Forester ends with 12 points on a 3 of 16 nights shooting from the field. In the women's tournament, the number 1 overall seed Marian Knights defeated both the 16-seed Florida National and 9-seed Stevens of Missouri by double digits. Ella Collier averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists across the 2 wins. The other 1 seed Indiana Wesleyan defeated the 16-seed Fisk University and 9-seed Northwestern of Iowa by an average of 36.5 points. Riley Parker averaged 14 points across the 2 wins to lead the Wildcats to the round of 16. And the 9-seed Spring Arbor Cougars took down the 8-seed Langston of Oklahoma 81-78 before falling to Dordt University of Iowa 87-67 in the second round. As for this week's Crossroads League Awards, the Baseball Player of the Week is Quinn Willard of Indiana Wesleyan. Willard played a key role in IWU plating 65 runs over 6 games, hitting .500 with 10 runs scored and 16 runs batted in. Along with going 12 for 24 at the plate, Willard mixed in 2 doubles, 3 triples, 3 home runs, and added 3 steals without being caught. The Baseball Pitcher of the Week is Gable Pentecost of Taylor. Pentecost whiffed the first 7 batters of the game in a 9-4 win over Grace and finished the day with 11 strikeouts over 7 innings. The sophomore allowed just 2 runs on 6 hits in the win and did not issue a walk. The Softball Player of the Week is Briley Bilger of Indiana Wesleyan. Bilger powered number 16 Indiana Wesleyan to a 6-0 week by hitting .455 with 5 home runs, 2 doubles, and 1 triple over 22 at-bats. The junior also drove in 11 runs and scored 7 of her own for the Wildcats. The Softball Pitcher of the Week is Emily Hamp of Spring Arbor. Hamp logged 24 innings in the circle for Spring Arbor, going 3-0 with 1 save in her 4 outings. Hamp posted a 2.33 ERA over the 4 games, picking up 18 strikeouts. The men's outdoor track and field track athlete of the week is Alvin Ketter of St. Francis. Ketter posted a B standard time for St. Francis in the 10,000 meters, finishing 4th overall with a time of 31 minutes and 10.16 seconds at the Charlotte 49er Classic. The women's outdoor track and field track athlete of the week is Alex Ebettino of St. Francis. Ebettino opened her outdoor season for St. Francis at the Charlotte Classic, competing in the 10,000 meters and taking 2nd with a time of 36 minutes and 44.95 seconds. Ebettino's time was 3rd best in St. Francis history and automatically qualified the senior for NAIA Nationals. The men's tennis player of the week is Mark Soriano of Marion. Soriano repeated as the Crossroads League top player, this time by winning 6-2 and then 6-2 at number 4 singles and 6-3 at number 2 doubles for number 24 Marion in a 7-0 team win over Indiana Tech. The women's tennis player of the week is Ana Barbosa Fernandez of Marion. Fernandez highlighted number 22 Marion's 7-0 sweep of Indiana Tech by winning 3-6, 6-0, and then 1-0 at number 2 singles and also 6-1 at number 2 doubles. The men's golfer of the week is Nolan Potter of Marion. Potter led number 21 Marion at the IU East Collegiate karting scores of 77 and 68 in the 2-round event. And the women's golfer of the week is Shane Lim of Taylor. Lim led number 22 Taylor to a 36-shot team victory at the Baker Shootout, firing rounds of 78 and 79 to win individual medalist honors. That's all for this week with your Crossroads League Week in Review. I'm Isaac Wolf.
Thank you, Isaac, again for all you do with Crossroads League in Review. We finally have Micah back for an episode. He's been gone for so long, but he has a sling and he's back. We are spotlighting the women's bowling team for episode 8. We have Carla Diamond and Zoe Shearin here today. And to start things off, just tell us how you guys got into bowling.
Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Oh, I can go first.
Okay.
So growing up, my dad was a semi-professional bowler, and so I was in a bowling alley a lot as a kid, just watching him. And in my high school years, they started a bowling team, and I was like, wow, this is cool. So I decided to join it. And so, yeah.
My bowling story is a little funny compared to a lot of people we bowl with. I bowled a youth league in like the 6th grade, and I was really, really bad at it. So I stopped bowling. And then in the 11th grade, I knew I was going to come to IWU. Felt like this is where God was calling me. And that was the year that IWU started a bowling team. And I was like, oh, well, I kind of used to bowl. I wasn't very good, but maybe I could pick it back up again. I'm pretty good at learning things when I like put in effort. So I'm from the South. I'm from Eastern North Carolina. And bowling is not really a sport in the South. It's like kind of a fun thing that like married couples do as like their date night activity. They like join a league. So I started bowling on a league once a week with a bunch of old married couples, and put on my IWU application that I bowled kind of as a joke. And then our coach reached out to me and was like, hey, you want to be on the bowling team? Like, sure, I guess. And so now I bowl, and I've gotten a lot better. I'm not the bad youth bowler I was in the 6th grade, but.
Well, I mean, that definitely is like, an interesting like experience compared to, I feel like a lot of people, it's kind of like Carla, where it's just like my dad or parents or something like that were involved, and you kind of were like the odd person out. So yeah, that's definitely very interesting. And kind of describe like, why did you guys decide to keep on bowling, like before even kind of making your decision into college, but just like what has been kind of the driving force of continuing to bowl to this day?
I can go. So this is my 2nd year on the bowling team. Last year I was not crazy about it. And I almost actually quit the bowling team just because I was super overwhelmed with a lot of things. But going into this year, I've really like kind of bought in and dug in. And now some of like my best friends, like Carla, are on the bowling team. And so that's been really fun of like actually making community on the team has been really what's kept me going. And the bowling alley has like become like my place off campus. And so like definitely just buying in and really like putting in effort and like making community in that space has really been what's like kept me going there.
I would say for me, so before I came here, I knew that I kind of wanted to bowl, but it wasn't a driving factor, and I definitely knew that IWU was a place that I wanted to come. And so I was kind of like, it is going to be what God makes of it. Like IWU, I've been coming here since like 6th grade, and so I was super familiar with the campus. And so just like being able to see it, and then I was kind of like, whatever happens, happens. And then our coach reached out to us, well, me, and said like, hey, I'm starting a bowling team and was wondering if you would be interested. Wow, I keep going off the mic. But so I started, this is my 3rd year, and so just like Zoe said, the community is a big driving force, and like some of my best friends are on the bowling team. And so like I feel like I can just call the bowling alley a second home, and it's just super like a safe place, and like just being able to go even just hang out with friends, not just practice, and just have fun. So
you mentioned you've obviously been on the bowling team for 3 years now. What do you think has been the growth of the team? Because you got here when it was the 1st year, right? So what have you seen as just team and overall growth?
I feel like overall it's been such a bigger community. like freshman year, it was kind of like, oh, we're all on this team. Like, it is what it is, and we'll just bowl and try our best. But, like, now it's like we have a strong desire to win, and, like, we're working together instead of it just being, like, an individualized sport. Because, like, it's somewhat individual, but you work together individually, if that makes sense. But it's just become, like, a super close community this time, and, like, just seeing how much everyone has improved, like, spiritually and, like, physically and mentally is just a really cool thing to see. And so just, like, everyone working together and just buying in.
And what do you feel like your coach does well to encourage kind of like a healthy balance between the teams? And how do you feel like the players or the rest of the bowlers on the team react to that?
I feel like they focus really hard on the community aspect. And so just, like, seeing that, like, there's rough times in bowling, and there's always going to be rough times. But, like, just buying in, like Zoe said, and just, like, really focusing on, like, we're not just doing this for fun. Like, it's a competition, but it's also to worship God in a way. And so just, like, seeing the aspects of, like, we can focus on this, but, like, also do better in this aspect. And so, like, a good, like, healthy contrast of, like, I forget the word.
I don't know where you're going
Constructive
with that.
criticism.
Oh.
That's the word.
I was like, I don't know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like last year, girls and boys, or men and women, had, like, separate practices. And I think a really cool thing that we've, like, started doing this year was we all practiced together, which, like, last year, we, like, some of us didn't know each other's names, which was, like, really hard because we all traveled together. And it's like, okay, you're on a bus for sometimes, like, 4 hours with these people you don't even super know well. And so, like, it's been nice, like, to see all of us come together, like, between both teams. And, like, we do team dinners, and we do, like, team devos. And, like, so that's been really cool to, like, watch community be built across both teams, not just in the women's team and in the men's team. But, like, we're all friends now, which is nice.
Yeah, I know, kind of, like, going off of that, last year they did the separate men and women practices. But my freshman year, they, like, it was all together. And so just, like, seeing that change from, like, because community was super big freshman year. Like, obviously it was new, but it was a good thing. And then last year it just felt like it kind of, like, got split. And, like Zoe said, we barely knew any of the men. And so, like, it was just crazy to see. And then, like, this year it's just really nice because we've all grown super close. So
Yeah, you guys are talking about your just practicing with the men's team. So what does your guys' practice schedule look like on a week-to-week basis?
So we practice Monday and Tuesday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. Crazy time frame. And then a lot of us are also involved on a late night league that the bowling alley does on Thursday nights, which is really cool because it, like, gets us also involved with, like, local people in Marion, which is, I really like that. But usually we, like, we'll, like, do you want to know, like, a layout of our practices? Like, what do you,
Sure.
like, okay, I wasn't sure where you were going with that. I mean,
Wherever
like,
you want it to go.
okay, we, like, stretch, and then we do, like, we start off with, like, drills for the first, like, 15 minutes?
yeah, 15, 20.
And then we'll, like, so it just kind of depends what, like, someday, if we have a tournament that week, then they'll, like, lay out that pattern for us, like the old pattern that we're bowling on. And so we'll practice on that pattern. Or sometimes we'll, like, work on spares. So we'll, like, play spare shooting games. Or, like, sometimes we bowl Baker games.
We do low game and high games.
Yeah, we do that a lot of, like, it's a good spare practice. So, like, you all shoot a shot at the same time, and then, like, whoever, if it's low game, whoever gets the most pins is out. So you try and, like, only hit one pin, or vice versa for high game. But yeah, so they do a really good job of, like, not making it super redundant of, like, okay, here I go again, just gonna throw the same ball over and over again.
Right.
But it's like, no, you're actually learning, but it also is, like, not redundant and boring, which I feel like it can very quickly get redundant and boring, but it doesn't, which is nice.
No, that's definitely good that you guys are able to, and your coaches are able to implement other things rather than just the actual game of bowling itself, because that can get very tedious, especially, like, in a tournament setting. You're there for 10 plus hours, and it's just like, I want to go home. Like,
Yep.
I don't want to be around bowling. I don't want to touch another bowling ball.
Literally.
So that's definitely like a nice aspect, and it kind of resets your mind and lets you kind of just resets everything. So it's just like you're not necessarily focusing on or overthinking on the way that you're playing or anything like that. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that will definitely help you when you are playing in a tournament to kind of just relax and just hone in on yourself and just be the person that you need to be for your team.
Yeah, our biggest like scoring tournaments have been like the tournaments we've had the most fun at. Like we've definitely seen a lot of success from like not like yeah, when it's time to bowl, it's time to bowl, but also like not taking yourself super seriously and like when you throw a bad shot, you throw a bad shot. And like we cheer, like cheers are a big thing that we like focus on. Like everyone has their own strike cheer. Like we have spare cheers. Like bowling alleys are loud on tournament days because everyone's screaming and you don't have a voice afterwards. But like it keeps it going and it keeps it fun so that it's not just bowling in a terrible 10+ hour day.
You would think that they're really quiet, but it's actually one of like the loudest sporting events I've ever been to. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild how
and
loud
like
it gets.
Jam packed, and you have probably about 3 feet of wiggle weight with like 3 bowling balls in your hands. And
Jeez.
fun.
So transitioning a little bit into the spiritual realm of things, you both talked about God leading you guys here. What does your team do in a spiritual aspect to kind of grow each other and grow the whole team spiritually?
So like starting this year, something we started doing was team devos. So like when we travel, when we get to the hotel, we'll have like 15 minutes or so to like get settled in, and then we all come down and we have, I keep leaving this thing, I'm so sorry. We have someone that gets chosen, and well, they choose to, but we have a student and they lead a team devo. It can be super short, it could be a long one, just kind of like depending on what God leads them to do. They're like sometimes we'll, like I know a couple of them have like a small group for the team, and so like they can get with them, and so like it's something that we're also starting on, and so like it's a fresh thing, and so like just trying to build off of it from here.
Yeah, I think it's really been cool to watch. One of our freshman girls actually leads a small group, and I think a good chunk of our team goes to it.
Yeah.
Which has been really cool to see. And like when they aren't able to meet like during small group hour, like they'll come meet at the bowling alley and like do their small group at the bowling alley, and that's been super cool because like typical bowling alley culture like isn't super like faith based, and so it's really cool to me to like watch like them like do their small group at the bowling alley or like just like have like random conversations about Jesus has been really like fun to like dive into and watch because yeah, I feel like that stuff usually doesn't happen in a bowling alley. Bowling alleys are wild places.
Just a little bit, you know. And going back into kind of like your past season this year, especially for you, Zoe, going into your sophomore season, what was kind of like your focus from transitioning from freshman year to this year?
I think when I made the decision to stay on the bowling team, I really felt like it was kind of like this now or never moment of like I get to either buy into this or I don't, and like I'm either going to do one of those things. I'm not just going to like put in half effort. And so at the beginning of the season, I really like made the decision to kind of go all in, and I was probably at the beginning of the year the least knowledgeable on bowling, I would say, like out of the people that like weren't new freshmen that came in. And so it's been really cool to like learn a lot and like really dig in and like learn a lot of the technical sides of bowling. Like I've been joking with one of our coaches. I went down a big bowling rabbit trail over spring break, and I like came back to the bowling alley with like pages and pages of notes of things that I learned. And everyone's making fun of me for it, but I like it's become something that I like actually enjoy doing and I actually enjoy learning about, which is super exciting because before it wasn't, and I was really worried that it wasn't going to be again. But I've watched like God kind of take this thing that like I was just doing to do it and has really turned it into like something that is like often a place where I see God in a lot, like when I'm just bowling by myself or when I'm practicing with my teammates. So that's been fun.
And then Carla, for you specifically, just playing for 3 years, what's your focus going into senior year next year?
I feel like my biggest focus is kind of like Zoe said, to like buy all in because like it's my last year, and to like it's gonna be bittersweet because like it's probably going to be the last time I'll ever, like, actually compete. And so, like, it'll be my last college competition. And so, like, just really focusing on, like, the opportunities that are at hand and, like, all of the possibilities that God has. And so, like, just really not kind of, like, putting it to the side and, like, realizing how important of a thing it is and how lucky I am to be able to do it. So.
And what would you guys say has been your favorite memory from being on the team so far? This could be from freshman year, this year, or maybe a memory that you know is coming up and that you guys are looking forward to.
Okay, so, like, does it have to be, like, specifically from the bowling alley?
No, it could be from
Okay,
the team.
cool.
It could be, yeah.
So last year, me and my best friend who I met on the bowling team, because we do 2 to a room, and we had a hotel room, and we both sleep with, like, white noise on, and our TV wasn't working, so we called the front desk, and we were like, hey, like, can someone do something about
Go wait,
this?
you're telling this story.
Well, they were like, well, we can't really do anything. Like, have you tried these things? And we're like, yeah, it's still not working. And so they're like, well, we'll actually just switch your rooms. And we're thinking we're going to get, like, the same exact layout. But we got the honeymoon suite. And so we were just playing in the jacuzzi with bubbles all night. And it was the highlight of my life.
That's crazy.
And, like, usually if we stay up late, we're, like, going into the tournament the next morning, like, exhausted. But we were on cloud 9. So, yeah.
I think one of my favorite memories, just kind of in general, a lot of us practice during the week, or some of us practice during the week at the bowling alley, so we hang out a lot there. And we've been bowling some of our guys have been bowling these sweeper tournaments, and so, like, a lot of the girls don't really bowl them. It's kind of hard to be competitive at sweepers because it's a big, like, pot of people bowling together, and men just bowl higher numbers than women. So some of us will go to, like, cheer on the guys. And I drive a minivan, so, like, we'll, like, pack out my minivan with all 7 seats, and then, like, everyone brings 2 bowling bags. So, like, we all pack in my minivan and, like, go to Indy for a Friday night, and the guys bowl, and we just have a really good time. But, like, that's just another place that I've, like, I have friends on the bowling team now, and that's really fun for me. It's, like, just those relationships I've built. So, yeah.
This is the last question. What's one fun fact about yourself or the bowling team that someone should know?
Well, the one I often tell, and then like to leave it without the story because I think it's obscure, but I almost drowned in a Portillo's parking lot one time in Madison, Wisconsin. I can tell the story, but
Please do. Please do.
So I went on vacation with some of my best friends to Madison, Wisconsin when I was in high school. Or not Madison, we were traveling back home. And we stopped in Madison, and we stopped and ate at Portillo's, and a really bad storm came through. So bad that we had decided we actually were going to find a hotel and, like, sleep there and then, like, get up in the morning and drive. So we sat in this Portillo's for, like, 2.5 hours, hoping that the rain would stop, and it never did. So we finally were like, okay, we're going to make a run for it. So we get outside, and, like, the parking lot is just flooded full of water. Well, flashback to, like, 2 hours before this Portillo's experience, I had milked a cow for the first time. And I was wearing my, like, Chaco sandals. And so I had, like, cow poop all over my Chacos. So I was like, I'm going to step off this curb and rinse off my Chacos while I'm walking to the car. Well, the curb I stepped off of was not a curb. It was actually a bottomed out mulch bed. And so when I stepped off what I thought was a curb, I actually fell into a, like, 6-foot pit full of water and mulch. And I, like, had to, like, swim my way to the top because I'm short and, like climb myself out of this. I had, like, my wallet and my keys and my cell phone and all of my, like, very expensive belongings on me. But, yeah, crazy story. That's always my fun fact I share because I think it's crazy.
That is.
I think
For
that's
sure.
the best one that we've
We've
had.
Yeah.
I don't think there's something that's going to top that, to be honest.
No. Probably not.
Yeah, mine's nowhere near that That's interesting.
What's your fun fact, Carla?
I got the chance to go to England this last summer, and we were there during the King's coronation. So that was really cool. But not as cool as falling in a
The King is
bottomless
cool.
pitch.
King Philip, that's who he is, right? He's cool.
Charles.
King Charles.
It was crazy because like just seeing everyone's reaction, like people who live in England, we would like go around and ask people who live there, like, how do you feel about this? And like none of them liked him, and like none of them wanted him to be king.
Awkward.
It was crazy.
Well, I think that is all we have. That was definitely the most interesting stories we've had. So
Let's go.
thanks for the laughs for sure. Join us next week for episode 9, where we will be doing our winter recap episode and then heading into some spring sports. And again, I'm Abby Harvey here with Micah Roberts and our guests Carla Diamond and Zoe Shearin here on Wildcat Week, brought to you by Amplify Media.